Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, I think it's no secret that the crypto market has pulled back. It's a sea of red on the coin market cap list. Bitcoin, of course, pulling back, Ethereum, and the rest of the alts. So what's happening here? Well, folks, tomorrow we're going to hear from Jerome Powell and the Fed. We're going to have an FOMC hearing, and we've seen historically there is huge volatility in the week of these meetings, right? Things are just choppy. It's so volatile. This includes the stock market. And of course, crypto is extra volatile squared, if you want to call it that. So this is expected. But what does this pullback mean? Does it mean that we've hit the top? This is the end of the bull market? Right now, there's no indication of that, meaning that Bitcoin is still holding key support levels. Now, if it breaks below 60K and starts heading down to the 50s, I'm going to be concerned. I'm being very transparent with you guys. That's where myself and others are going to have to go back to the drawing board and say, what happened here? How has the thesis changed, right? Right now, the thesis is we are in a uptrend. We are in a macro bull market. And until those support levels break, folks, then we can say bull market's over. Something is different this time around. And we see Bitcoin on the daily, huge red candle, but once again, still hovering in the 60,000s. The DXY, the dollar currency index, pumping, looking strong. However, that doesn't mean it's going to go to new all-time highs here or continue moving upwards. It could break downward. So the takeaway here is we got to let the dust settle. We got to let things calm down. And there's a mixture of things. One, Bitcoin was super overextended in that massive run up before the halving where it touched new all-time highs. That, of course, never happened in the history of Bitcoin. And I think we were so overbought, so overextended. We needed this extended cool down period. And people were still greedy. You look at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index over the past week, even months. Greed, right? But historically, we've seen in bull markets, if you go look at the charts, we've had some deep corrections which brought fear into the market. And I experienced some of those in 2016, 2017, and then, of course, 2020 to 2021. And we need those flush outs, right, to reset the system, and then we keep moving upwards. So my thesis is still we are in a macro bull market. We are in an uptrend, and I don't expect us to be topping out anytime soon. I still think we have a phase 3 to go to where we're going to see massive euphoria, blow off top activity. Now, as always, anything is possible, but hear me out. What is the probability of such scenario playing out? There's a bull case and there's a bear case. Right now, I think the bull case has the higher probability of playing out. But every dog has its day, and sometimes things change on us, even if it's been going on for decades, right? So I want to make sure I'm being balanced here and you understand my approach and that I am thinking of different scenarios and not ignoring scenarios. I'm not some moon boy here just telling you, forget about the bears, they're going to get destroyed. No, the bears could win this battle, but the probability of them doing it is low. So just please understand me, because I know some people are going to come in the comments and say, oh, you're this and that, right? But it's like, no, as an educated, informed investor, putting our emotions to the side, we want to look at both scenarios and see which scenario has the highest probability of playing out. Now, many different analysts are weighing in because people are getting fearful. Here, Kevin Svensson, who's been sharing the Bitcoin parabolic curve model, which is the textbook model, and it's playing out perfectly. He says, crypto social media today, why is it going down? And he shared a macro chart showing, hey, we're building support levels here, higher highs, higher lows. Even Chris Berninski weighed in. He said, people getting too bearish, in my opinion. Most things look solid. This volume is minor. Today, the flush. Later this week, the springboard. He says, you look at this chart and choose to be bearish. Like, why? So once again, as I stated before, his chart is showing that we have not broken key support levels. Even if we were to go to 60K, we have not broken or invalidated the uptrend. So that is still in play. Here, Tech Dev says, we've been here before. 42 months after the start of an already ended long compression, hovering at the prior high, pressed against the top band. Bandwidth squeezed and bounced. Expansion has begun. Next leg poised to accelerate. So, what does this mean, though, with the news that we may hear from the Fed tomorrow? So, I have a few thoughts on this. On one hand, I see that the Fed has paused their rate hikes, right? That in itself is bullish. That means they're not going to continue to raise and make capital more expensive. Don't get me wrong, people want the rates to be cut. And we saw in 2023, as the Fed was raising rates, and even as they were pausing at the beginning of this year, the markets were running up. The markets are forward looking. They know the Fed can only go so far before they destroy the economy. And it's a presidential election year. And historically, that means there's a lot of liquidity that's pumped into the markets, and that any sitting president is going to want to make the stock market and economy look great, right? It goes for Democrats or Republicans. So what we may hear from Jerome Powell tomorrow is that he's probably going to say, hey, we're still paused, and that rate cuts are coming later this year or early 2025. So that will give the signal to the markets, hey, cheaper capital is coming. And then there's a buy the rumor, sell the news event. And what we've seen historically is when they actually start executing those rate cuts, the markets start to tank. We've seen it time and time again. The data doesn't lie. So like I said in my newsletter earlier this year, the markets are front running those rate cuts, in my opinion. But when they actually do cut the rates, then, there might be a sell-off. That's what we've seen historically. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Obviously, this is all correlated to global liquidity, crypto stocks, and all these assets. So I don't think Biden would want to go into the election with the markets not looking great, and he'll want the stock markets looking great. And once again, it could have been Trump, it could have been somebody else. But this is my thesis, and I could be wrong. And I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this issue. Now, of course, Bitcoin is leading in all the social media mentions. This data is brought to you by Sentiment, which is a partner of the podcast. As far as negative to positive sentiment, there is some negative sentiment, which is at 38.76, pretty high compared to the positive sentiment of 45%. So people are starting to feel the fear. But in my experience, being here for multiple bull market cycles, this is bullish. When you have fear in a bull market, in a macro bull market, that's very bullish, right, folks? For those of my OGs who've been here before, you know what I'm talking about. For retail and these folks to get scared and run away, and then the markets do the contrarian move, right? When everyone's bullish, the markets can tank. And then when everyone's fearful, the markets pump. We've seen this time and time again and how it works. So fascinating stuff. And if you want to get a pro account for Sentiment, you can check out the link in the description. You can get a discount using the code ThinkingCrypto. Now, Brian Armstrong, Coinbase CEO, tweeted out the following today. He says, in DC this week, talking about Washington, DC, excited by all the bipartisan momentum as the Senate takes up drafting bills in the wake of FIT 21, it's time to get some clear rules for crypto. This is great. We need Coinbase. We need the industry to keep putting the pressure, keep the momentum going, because we were able to get Democrats to join Republicans to not only repeal SOB 121 in the House and the Senate, but also get the FIT 21 regulation bill out of the House. We need to get through the Senate now. This could be a catalyst that if it is approved this year, that it could drive the markets insane, right? Because it will be an incredible narrative that there is clear regulations in the United States of America. So let's keep an eye out on this, but very, very bullish news. And remember, money talks, and we've seen Coinbase, Ripple, and A16Z and a bunch of other companies started donating to the political campaign funds for pro-crypto candidates. So it's going to be a very fascinating election. And we see Donald Trump has come out and positioned himself as the pro-crypto candidate. So crypto is in the mainstream now, guys, in the spotlight. Now, speaking of Ripple, we got some news here. They tweeted out earlier this year, Ripple announced its intent to acquire Standard Custody. And today we're pleased to share that the acquisition is now complete. If you guys recall, I've often had Jack McDonald, who is the CEO of Standard Custody, as well as Polysign. Now, some things didn't go well for Polysign, and I'll try to get Jack back on the podcast to talk about it. But part of the acquisition, Jack remains as the CEO of Standard Custody, which is now owned by Ripple, but he will also become the Senior Vice President of Stablecoins at Ripple, to lead the team there as they launch their stablecoin. I think it's going to be RLUSD. So interesting things happening. I'm going to try to get him on and to give you guys the details. Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, tweeted out the news saying 2 major acquisitions in approximately 1 year under Ripple's belt with Medico and Standard Custody, and a big welcome to Jack McDonald. Jack is no stranger to the XRPL's ecosystem, and to me, thrilled to have him join Team Ripple, leading our stablecoin initiative. So, once again, I'll try to get you guys the details. Now, a great place you can buy Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Ethereum, and all your altcoins is Uphold, which is a great crypto platform. I've been using them since 2018. They have 260 plus cryptocurrencies. You can also trade precious metals such as gold, silver, palladium, and platinum. So if you'd like to learn more about Uphold, check out the link in the description. Now, moving ahead, we got some news here that ZkSync to distribute 21 billion ZK tokens. Matter Labs heralds the largest distributions of tokens to users amongst major L2s. So this is a massive airdrop. So the developers of Ethereum Layer 2 ZkSync Era and ZK Stack are preparing to airdrop a token titled ZK. Following in the footsteps of dozens of protocols, the team at Matter Labs has looked to avoid some of the pitfalls that have tripped up competitors in the public's eye. For starters, the scale, 2/3 allocated to the community distribution, including a 17.5% allocation for an airdrop. Here's a quote: a 17.5 airdrop to 695,232 wallets is the largest distribution of tokens to users amongst major layer 2s, Matter Labs said in a blog post. All airdrop tokens will be unlocked and transferable from day one with no vesting period. That had been a point of contention following EigenLayer's Eigen token release, for example. So look, I love airdrops. Some of these have worked out well for me, like the Flare token airdrop, and I have not participated in this, but I'm going to look into how I can potentially get some of this airdrop. So FYI for you guys, and I'll let you know as I find out more, but I highly recommend you do your own research as well. So the rest of the community allocation to be administered by the ZkSync Foundation and an on-chain governance process dubbed ZK Nation. The remaining 1/3 of the 21 billion total ZK will go to investors and the Matter Labs team over a 4-year vesting period with 1-year cliff. That means no team and investor tokens should be expected to hit the market in mass until June 2025. Previously, Starkware postponed its team unlock in response to criticism following the release of the STRK token in February. So folks, like I said, this is pretty cool, and I love airdrops going out to the community to get people to start using these airdrops and start getting interest in the blockchain and for people to build and stake and do all these great things. Now, we also got news here that liquid restaking platform Mellow launches with Symbiotic. So liquid restaking project Mellow launched today, set to be the flagship of Symbiotic, which also just launched. Mellow aims to decentralize LRT creation and allow depositors to choose between varying risk profiles. Here's a quote: Mellow enables depositors more flexibility regarding their desired level of exposure to risk while still benefiting from the liquidity of staked assets. This is achieved by dynamically adjusting strategies within each vault based on real-time risk assessments and market conditions, the team claims, and according to their documentation. So this is an interesting update. Mellow will be the first and flagship LRT for Symbiotic, which also launched today and seeks to compete with EigenLayer in the liquid restaking arena, which has grown rapidly over the last year. EigenLayer currently boasts around $20 billion in total value locked. So I don't know much about restaking, to be honest with you guys. I have to do more research here, and I'm going to look into it though, and I'll try to maybe do a video dedicated to it about what is restaking and is it safe, right? Because you don't want to lose your funds and you don't want to put your stuff in something that's going to get drained and all that. We've seen a lot of exploits with DeFi. I do believe DeFi is the future, but I think just like Web 1.0, it's not perfect, right? Or near perfect at all. And there's a lot of vulnerabilities and it can be exploited. So we have to be careful here. And I'm being honest. I love crypto. I believe in this technology, but I'm no idiot. I was born at night, but not last night, and I don't want to lose my funds. So you do have to be careful with these things, and you have to let them prove themselves, give them some time to get people on board and test it out and show that they have the security layers and much more. So just an FYI on that, folks. Well, folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. What do you think the Fed is going to do tomorrow and how that will impact markets? I think everybody's going to be paying attention to that because it will tell us what's going to happen next. As I shared with my thesis earlier, I believe the bull market is still alive, and until the charts show it's invalidated, then we'll have to adjust accordingly. But we'll have to be patient and see what comes out tomorrow. Now, folks, I'm going to be publishing my interview with Charles Hoskinson of Cardano. Be sure you have the notification bell enabled. I'm publishing that interview in the morning. You don't want to miss it. It's a good one. It's a long interview, but we touch on a lot of things. And it's just something you definitely want to watch, even if you're not a Cardano holder. Folks, don't forget to also grab a copy of my book, Rethinking Crypto, on Amazon. Grab a copy, leave a rating and review. Grab a couple copies for your friends and family. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.